It is Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. That is not my man, Trevor Plouffe. That is the dude of all dudes in baseball world from ESPN, Jeff Passan. Hi, Jeff.
Did you do that? Did you try to make me sound like European and fancy? Because
Isn't that what we do around John Boy with your name?
I don't know. Jake just goes passing. It's
Mm.
like, yeah, Passan is how it is most commonly mispronounced. And I look back at my childhood and really like appreciate this more now. But when we were in, I think it was first grade, it might have been kindergarten. We had something in Solon, Ohio called Safety Town. And Safety Town was like a government sponsored thing that taught you different rules, like when you can cross the street, like important things to know in life. And when you graduated from Safety Town, you walked up and you shook the mayor's hand, and the mayor would like announce your name, and you would go up there, and he said Jeff Passan, and or I believe it was Jeffrey Passan. And little 5-year-old Jeffrey Passan went up to the mayor of his town, looked him in the eye, and said, "It's passing." So
Yes.
I was rude as a 5-year-old too. Like nothing has changed since then. No respect for authority whatsoever.
Oh, well, the show's already gone off the rails with two native Clevelanders on the show. So we're going to
Oh
have a
yes.
blast today. A lot to get to. But let's start off with the most important stuff, which is it is Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball. I love it because everybody wears 42. I love it
Mhm.
because those who don't have a deep understanding and history about Jackie Robinson get to ask the questions, and hopefully people can provide the answers. I think that, listen, I've been critical of Major League Baseball for several steps that they have made, or in my opinion, missteps over the last quarter century or so. I do think that one of the great things this sport has done is wrap its arms around Jackie Robinson, of Jackie Robinson Day, and everybody being on the same page with this.
What I love about Jackie Robinson Day is that for a sport that is so steeped in its history, it honors the most important thing that has happened. And anyone who suggests that Jackie Robinson's uh, breaking the color barrier is not the seminal moment in Major League Baseball history, let alone like the seminal moment in American professional sports,
Mhm.
just doesn't understand what it means. And we look at this through the lens of baseball because that's what we do all the time because that's how we operate. But Jackie Robinson debuting for the Dodgers was not something that was limited to baseball. This is American history and an important part of American history. And I think it really opened a lot of people's eyes in a vital time in United States history, that equality and giving black people what everybody else has in America is something that was long, long overdue and a great tragedy of America. And the fact that baseball was able to play that role, to be a conduit to open America's eyes, I think is one of the reasons that the game is still to this day so important to people in the United States because football doesn't have a moment like that.
Mhm.
Basketball doesn't have a moment like that. Hockey doesn't have a moment like that. Like the closest things that I can think of are the Olympics, whether it's Jesse Owens running or in 1968, the track stars and
Yeah.
the black power symbol. Like there are moments that sports, Chris, give us that ties into the fabric of what this nation is supposed to be. And Jackie Robinson embodied everything that America is about and should be about.
And once again, as we watch all the players that'll don his number 42 for the one time a year since it is retired throughout the game of baseball, if it gets people asking questions and answering
Yes.
questions, then that's the way it should go. And
And look, we're Chris, we're not far removed from people trying to negate what Jackie Robinson did, from people in our government trying to
Mhm.
erase what Jackie Robinson did. And they can say that it was a mistake, and you can believe them or not. But the reality is, you shouldn't even be in a position to make mistakes with something as important as this. That's the sort of thing. That's the kind of history we should be looking to protect and to project and to educate everyone on. That this was a brave man and the right man at the right time to bring America into a more modern place.
Yeah. So we'll enjoy all the games that are out there tonight with all these wonderful players that we get to enjoy every day. Unified with the number 42 tonight. I cannot wait. The San Diego Padres will try and get to 12-0 on their home slate when they take on the Chicago Cubs. Monday night, come from behind win, thanks to a man who is hottie as a toddy.
To left field. Hack going back. That's gone too. Fernando's second home run of the night gives the Padres an 8-4 lead.
Tatis and the start that he is off to. Is he baseball's most complete player? And I always put Shohei in his own category because he is such an anomaly.
He's different.
So you could say yes, you could say no, you could suggest somebody else. Where are we?
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say it's Bobby Witt Jr., but Tatis is probably second.
And how close is it?
I think Witt's a category above. Because here's the thing. We see these bursts from Fernando Tatis where he looks like the best player in the world, right? We see these stretches where he just gets white hot and carries a team. Witt, to me, has those stretches, but he also has the consistency that Tatis has not shown at this point. What we're seeing from Tatis right now, Chris, it's very simple to me. We're seeing the player that San Diego gave 14 years and $340 million to after his first season. We're seeing the manifestation of all of the tools and all of the talent and everything coming together in this unique package where you get Gold Glove defense in a corner outfield, you get power, you get speed. He's a menace on the bases. Like, he is a great baseball player. And the sort who can string together multiple years like this is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, it's Hall of Fame level talent. I just want to see it over a more consistent period of time before I say that he's in the same category as Bobby Witt. And I know Bobby Witt's been in the big leagues only a few years at this point, so he's got a limited sample as well, but he's just been so steady. I mean, Bobby Witt hasn't even gotten off to a good start per se, and he's OPSing 900. Like, there's just a lot more in the tank there with Bobby Witt, whereas right now I think we're seeing Fernando Tatis at his peak. And it's majestic and it's beautiful, and it's carried the Padres to the best record in baseball and undefeated record at home at this point. But I just want to make sure before I go crowning him anything that when he goes down, that it doesn't stay there for a little while and it turns into one of those, wavy type of seasons that at the end looks great, but it was more incredible and not quite as good rather than somewhere in between, which if I'm a team, that's all I want. All I want is consistent performance from guys so I know what I'm going to be getting.
Well, I want to credit, first of all, Daniel Jeremiah, a noted Padres fan and my NFL draft guru over at NFL Network. As we were chatting last night, I was like, God, I need another question about Tatis because he's been playing out of his world. And so he brought this question. So, Daniel, tip of the cap to you as you continue your draft studies. We'll see you 2 weeks from Thursday, or a week from Thursday, I guess it is.
It's coming up.
Yeah, for the draft in Green Bay.
Chris, I gotta say, I really wish baseball's draft was 1/100th of what the NFL's is.
They're trying.
No, they're not. I know. We keep saying they're trying. To me, they're not trying until they get every player there.
But that's
and I think that's where the relationship with the MLBPA and in particular with the agents needs to get better. They need to convince agents to convince the players to go there. They need to make it so accommodating and so exciting and so alluring that players want to come to the draft. Right now, that's just not the case. And everything is there to make it happen. Moving the draft to the All-Star game, like, think about if you're a high school kid or if you're a college kid, the opportunity to meet the best players in the world. There needs to be some sort of programming in place where if you get all the first round picks in during the draft, that they have some kind of either get together with the big league all stars. And here's the thing: big leaguers are willing to give time
Mm-hmm.
to young players coming up. They want to hear their stories. They want to meet them. They want to dispense advice. They want to dispense wisdom. Like, to me, it's just a missed opportunity by MLB. And I don't think until they go like full tilt on making this an alluring event for players to come to, are they really trying to the extent that they should.
That's a good call. Good call. Well broken down. One last thing, two last things. One, Tatis, some will say he fired his warning shot last year in the playoffs, where I think he went 11 of 26, including 4 homers in the rounds against the Braves and the Dodgers. And people will say maybe that is the start of his consistency. I'm with you. I want to see it a little bit more, but he's one of my favorites to stop and watch. The other thing is Dylan Cease on the mound last night freaked me out. When he was out there pitching without facial hair, I was wondering what prospect did I miss? This is it. I mean, first of all, I think he looks way better without that homeless glare that he has on the right. Don't you think?
I didn't realize that Walter White Jr. was in the big leagues.
Ah, well done.
Somebody said that on the internet. I'm not going to take credit for that. But
Oh.
that he's got it. On the right it's Walt. On the left it's Flynn.
It's I showed that to my wife Michelle. She's like, "Oh yeah, he should never go there again." Have you ever had a beard?
No, I can't grow it. It's like I legitimately cannot grow facial hair. Like right in here, I have like a quarter-sized patch, and I still can't connect mustache and beard. It's embarrassing. I'm 44 years old and cannot do it.
You look like you're 30, so keep hanging on to that. Yeah, it's true though. I used to be the young-looking guy, and everybody's like, "God, Rose, you look so tired and old. What the hell happened to you?" I love that one. That's great. And so I just asked my wife last night. I said, "If you like Dylan Cease without a beard, why the hell am I growing this thing out? You're the one who told me." And she looked at me and she goes, "Well, maybe you should shave it for the draft." I said, "Well, I mean, you're the reason I've been growing this thing out. So I don't know."
Hold on. Can we break that down? Can we
Yeah.
break that down?
Mm-hmm.
She said she likes the facial hair, right?
Yes, on me.
Okay. Do you like it?
I don't know. I look at it some days.
No. Chris, you just answered it, because unless the answer is yes, then the answer is no. This is a binary thing here. You have to, if you're going to have facial hair, you have to fully embrace the facial hairness of it all. And I feel like you got to come in one of these days as fresh-faced Rose just to try it out, because you look like a guy who can probably get back growth in a reasonable period of time.
Yeah,
but I think you should go full Cease, man. Let's see what the rosy face looks like these days.
Or I could have people comment in the section down below and let me know what I should do, because I can't decide anything for myself.
I was going to say you are a handsome man.
You're very sweet.
No, you are. And listen, you're going to start looking old one of these days. Until then, no, you're not there yet. You don't look old at all. Okay. Until you're there, I say embrace the youthful look. Do the best you can.
Okay. Let's move on to the team whose hat I am donning, Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skenes, another solid night at the ballpark. Good bounce back for him, because he did not look good in his previous game against St. Louis. 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 Ks, no walks. My question for you is this. Does it feel like Skenes' most important game every year as a Pirate will be his season opener? And if so, doesn't that make you sad?
The whole thing makes me sad. It does, because so let's break down where the Pirates are. They are really good at developing pitching. It's not just like Skenes was more or less a finished product, but let's look at the guys that they've developed in recent years. Mitch Keller has been very solid. Bubba Chandler on the way up right now. There's a lot more in the minor league system. I'm not going to say the Pirates have hacked pitching, but they figured out how to take toolsy guys like Bubba Chandler, who, could have played college football and was a two-way player in high school and turn him into someone. Did you see how hard he threw a couple days ago, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bubba Chandler hitting 102 like easy. And a guy who's got all kinds of confidence and swag too. Big Bubba Chandler fan. I think he's going to be a mainstay in that rotation. Um, Jared Jones is another one, and it's a bummer that he's hurt right now. I hope he's able to come back a little later in the year healthy. But they've got the pitching part down. When you got the pitching part down, there are two things that you need to do. You need to develop hitting, and you need to complement, if you're going to be a team that is mostly homegrown, with strong free agent signings. The Pittsburgh Pirates haven't signed a free agent to a multi-year contract since Ivan Nova in 2016. The Pirates this offseason spent $19.95 million on free agent signings when they have a generational pitcher, a guy who I think, if he stays healthy, is going to be a Hall of Famer in Paul Skenes. And coming into the year, they have Jones and they have Chandler and on and on. Like, they've got arms. Joel, I was talking about this with Joel Sherman in spring training. And Joel asked the question, if you're Ben Cherington right now, do you go to Bob Nutting and ask, over the next 5 years, what does our budget look like? Let's say it's $500 million over 5 years, which may be a little bit of a stretch because the Pirates still have never had a payroll of $100 million or over during it's wild to think about. I look back yesterday and Bob Nutting and the Pirates have spent $1.2 billion on player salaries since 2007 when he bought the team. So we're coming up on 2 decades right now, and that's like 3 years of spending for the Mets or the Dodgers. Regardless, the premise Joel had was, if you're Ben Cherington right now and you ask for that budget over the next 5 years, do you say to Bob Nutting, can you give me $150 million this year and next year, and we'll go 80 the years after, or we'll go 75, or whatever it is the years after? Can we just try to build around Paul Skenes? Can we try to take advantage of this window that we have before what seems like an inevitability of a trade?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just try to maximize it right now and see what we can be, and see if we build it, whether the Pirates fans will come? And let me tell you, Chris, they will. I was there during the Cueto game back in the postseason. I have seen what PNC Park, which is my second favorite park in baseball behind San Francisco, I've seen what PNC Park looks like when it's full and when it's raucous and when Pittsburgh fans are showing out and have a reason to show out, and it's magical. And those Pirates fans deserve more than they have right now. And if you're just looking at it straight from a leverage perspective, how do we leverage the roster that we have? How do we leverage our opportunity? You can't look at this as a one-year thing. You have to look at this down the road. And if we have Paul Skenes right now, why aren't we doing absolutely everything we can to build around him and to build something that's worthy of the pitcher that he is?
Yeah, he basically suggested as much in spring training.
Yeah.
He really did. I mean, he came out and said it without using those words. You can tell he's frustrated because he knows he doesn't want to dog his teammates, but he knows that team's not good enough. We all know it. And it really is ownership malpractice is what I would say.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. And you look at what the Pirates have done. Like, it's bad enough not to go out and field the kind of roster that you could, but to compound that by replacing the Roberto Clemente number with an advertisement, to compound that by taking out the Bucko bricks and them being seen, I believe it was probably first on Reddit, at a nearby waste facility. Like, these are such self-inflicted, completely unnecessary wounds, but they're representative of a franchise that knows only unnecessary wounds. The Pirates don't have to be who they are right now. I went and looked yesterday on Forbes at its baseball valuations to see what's the Pirates' revenue last year. I believe it was $326 million. You know who else is in sort of that area, like $5 million range of revenues? The Arizona Diamondbacks, whose payroll is $188 million. The Kansas City Royals, whose payroll is $134 million. The Minnesota Twins, whose payroll is $147 million. The Brewers are in there. There are a couple other teams in that bucket, all of whom have 9-figure payrolls. There is zero, Chris, zero reason that the Pirates need to operate how they operate. It is a choice. And it's a choice that's insulting to fans. It's a choice that's insulting to the game. It's a choice that's insulting to the players in that clubhouse who deserve better.
Way better. And if you're a fan, you have to buy a Paul Skenes jersey with his name Velcroed on the back. There's no way you can get it stitched in. It just stinks.
No, and here's I have a big story on Paul Skenes running on ESPN.com tomorrow. And we talked about Pittsburgh, and he likes it there. And this is not like one of those, oh yeah, I like it here. No, he likes it. He likes the vibe of the town. He likes the people there. He said something that was interesting. He said, what I love about Pittsburgh is that in Pittsburgh, if you're going out to dinner, people will leave you alone. In Baton Rouge, they'll come up to your table and act like you've been their best friend. And those are the two places that he's really known that, there are big baseball programs at LSU in college and at Pittsburgh right now. But he's a really, really smart guy, and he sees the writing on the wall. He said it pretty clearly. We're going to have to do this from within. We're going to have to build from our system, because as much as Ben Cherington can wrangle free agency, Bob Nutting just is not going to give him the money to do anything substantive. I'm not saying go out and sign a 9-figure guy. I'm saying give a multi-year contract out so that maybe the best players on the market will at least consider coming to play with you.
All right, let's be real. Most skincare products aren't made for men. When they are, they're usually not great. They're overly complicated, packed with questionable ingredients, or just don't deliver results. That's where Caldera Lab comes in. They've redefined men's skincare by combining advanced science with high-quality, non-toxic ingredients to create a simple yet effective routine that actually works. Each product, like the Good, the eye serum, the base layer, is formulated to support skin health and improve the look and feel of your skin. In a consumer study, men who use Caldera Lab products reported noticeable improvements. 100% said their skin looked smoother and healthier. Nearly 97% saw an improvement in skin hydration and texture, and almost 94% said their skin had a more youthful appearance. Skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. So upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab. See the difference for yourself. Head on over to calderalab.com/today. Use that code today at checkout for 15% off your first order. I recently started using that stuff. I look like I'm in my 60s. I'm kidding. Look like I'm going backward in my 40s. There you go. Not in my 70s. It's a little ha-ha for you. All right, we continue on. For the first time in 14 games, Juan Soto did this.
His fourth straight at bat with a runner in scoring position. He lifts this one out to right center field. Pretty well hit. Back goes Buxton, back near the wall, and it's out of here. A 2-run homer for Juan Soto.
All right, so that big fly came just hours after Soto told the New York Post, quote, "It's definitely different. I had the best hitter in baseball behind me last year." He's talking about Aaron Judge in the Bronx. "I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year." Jeff, should Mets fans be bothered that those words came out of the mouth of their $800 million player?
No, not at all. It's true. I mean, he had Aaron Judge hitting behind him last year. It changes things. Now, granted, he's got Pete Alonso this year, so that kind of helps as well. And Pete Alonso's been the second best hitter in Major League Baseball behind Aaron Judge this year. So I'm not sure that's the reason why Juan Soto struggled. And by the way, I say struggled, like the guy's getting on base 40% of the time, so the power's not there. He has those moments where he's not hitting for power, and it's okay because he still manages to be productive. He just doesn't look like a $765 million player at this point, but that's okay. I have no questions whatsoever that Juan Soto is going to have a fantastic season, is going to be an integral part of this Mets team making a good playoff run. In fact, Chris, I look at the Mets right now atop the National League East with Juan Soto not being the best version of himself, and think, well, once he really gets going, how much better is this team going to be? Once Frankie Montas comes back, once Sean Manaea comes back, the fact that the Mets are playing as well as they are to this point has been something of a surprise to me, because I thought the pitching injuries were going to harm them a little bit. I thought Francisco Alvarez being out was going to be problematic, but they've looked great. And this is going to be a dangerous team. And frankly, with the start that Atlanta has had to this point, and the hole that the Braves have dug themselves, it looks right now like it's Mets and Phillies, and it's going to be a barn burner.
You know why this is a story? It's very simple. Because somebody stiffed the New York Yankees for more money. That's the only reason this is a story, because it just doesn't happen. I don't know if it's ever happened. And so now everybody's going to go, well, look, he looks unhappy. I mean, how many still shots come across your timeline on Twitter? Look at how unhappy Juan Soto is. You know why he's unhappy? Because he's standing in 38-degree Minnesota, and he's like, God damn, when is it ever going to get warm around here so I can start unleashing my power? That's the whole reason. Am I wrong?
No, you are not wrong. You are not wrong at all. He looked miserable last night.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with
miserable, and it's not because of the uniform that he was wearing. It's because it's freaking cold, and some people just do not like the cold, myself included. If I had to go out and play in that, I would be miserable too. And I grew up in Cleveland.
Hey, by the way, Solon Mayer on line 2 for you again. By the way, we all know that Aaron Judge is a better player than Pete Alonso. We get it. Aaron Judge is going to end up in Cooperstown. He's pretty good.
Is this a thing? I try not to involve myself with the day-to-day controversies on Twitter. Are people actually saying this is a thing and making a big deal? I suppose, maybe I'm just being naive, and because it's New York, of course it's a thing. But what he said, if Pete Alonso's being honest with himself, he would acknowledge that too.
Right. It's a thing. Once again, it's a thing because people are looking for reasons that Juan Soto should be upset and that he should regret the move.
Juan Soto is thrilled
he's
to
fine.
be a Met. He's doing just fine, and he's doing just fine not because he's got $765 million coming to him. He's doing just fine because he signed with the New York Mets for 15 years because he thought over those 15 years, not over 15 games, that he was going to be in a better position.
Well done. All right, let's move on to the American League East, where the Rays took it to the Red Sox with a beatdown of Tanner Houck.
There's a high shot, well tagged, deep into right center. That baby's gone. Home run off the bat of Meisner.
All right, so Jeff, the Sox were kind of the chic pick to win the American League East, if not even participate in the World Series. Are we not so sure that the Rays are better than the Red Sox, though?
Chris, I don't know who's better than anyone in the American League. Not just the American League East, the entirety of the American League. The entire league confounds me. I don't know if there's a good team in the American League right now. If you look at both record and run differential, everybody's within a pretty tight band. And if you say to me, who's going to win the American League right now? The Yankees? Sure. The Red Sox? Yeah. The Rays? Yep. The Blue Jays? Of course. The Orioles? If they get some pitching, yeah. The Tigers? The Royals? The Guardians? The Mariners? The Astros? The Rangers? I'm not on the Angels bandwagon yet, and yet they have the second best record in the league right now. I don't know what the hell to think about the American League, but I will say this. The Tampa Bay Rays can pitch their ass off, and they're doing it without Shane McClanahan. Their bullpen is nasty. Drew Rasmussen has been awesome. Shane Baz looks like the guy we thought that he was going to be. Ryan Pepio, super consistent, and they're getting really, really good at bats right now from Jonathan Aranda. And it's not just that Jonathan Aranda, who's finally getting some playing time, is hitting. He's hitting the piss out of the ball. He's up at the top of the exit velocity leaderboards right now. And adding him and Junior Caminero full time seems to be a solid addition for that team. Cam Meisner's playing well.
Right.
And in the Red Sox right now, their bullpen's been good. And they don't have anything from Jarren Duran at this point or Tristan Casas. I think both of them are bound to turn things around, but Christian Campbell's been phenomenal. The Red Sox, to me, it's very simple. They're going to go as far as their starting pitching takes them. And Tanner Houck and Walker Buehler have not been good to this point. So as much as adding Garrett Crochet has been a positive, the regression of Houck, giving up a 10 spot yesterday, and Buehler just not being as effective as the guy we saw in October, that's what's hindering them at this point. Richard Fitz has been solid, and Aroldis Chapman settling in, and Brennan Berardino has been very good. Josh Winkowski, the Red Sox have the guys to win the pennant. I think that's a fact. But guess what? A dozen other teams might as well.
Yeah, with the Red Sox, it's interesting. How I saw somebody throw out on Twitter that he had a triple-double last night. Runs given up, earned runs, and hits allowed in less than 3 innings. That's pretty good. You mentioned Meisner, Aranda, Caballero. Those are 3 regulars. Those OPS are all 1-dotters at this point. Yep. The one thing I would say, and I would caution people with Tampa Bay, is because of the ballpark they're playing in, I don't know what their offense is. They've only played 3 road games, right? They're trying to front load this home schedule so that they don't have to deal with the weather that we're going to have in June and July there in Florida. So they've played basically every series at home. I just don't know what this offense is, so I'm going to reserve judgment with that. Boston, we saw them hit the piss out of the ball for a while. They scored 18 runs on Sunday Night Baseball in that win over St. Louis. And then in this next 7 games, they score 15 runs. It happens. Exactly. We all know this is baseball for you. So I'm not ready to say that Tampa Bay is better, but I will say that Tampa Bay is going to finish better than I expected them to, because I just never expect them to finish well, and they always do.
That's how it goes.
That's definitely how it goes. All right. Last thing I want to focus on, Vlad Jr. had his first home at bat since inking that 14-year, $500 million extension. It was pretty much the highlight of their night in their home loss to the Atlanta Braves. Now, here's the cool thing. Vlad met with the media to talk about the extension beforehand. And here's a little cute story about telling his daughter that Toronto would remain their home.
She asked me 2 weeks ago if you're gonna stay here, and I think that moment was a little bit emotional for me, because I don't know what I had to say, but when I called her and told him we're gonna spend for 14 more years in Toronto, she is trying, go off and start crying, and so she made me cry. But that she's here, so.
All right, so when Ohtani signed with the Dodgers and when Soto signed with the Mets, we all pretty much said, well, these teams have to win a ring in order for this to make sense. Is the same thing, can that be said for Vladdy, or is it something different?
I mean, giving a first baseman $500 million, I don't think in any regard makes sense. But I understand why the Blue Jays felt like they had to do it. When you take a swing as big as they did with Ohtani and miss, when you take a swing as big as they did with Soto and miss, when you devote tons of resources and energy to Roki Sasaki and don't get him, in order to keep a fan base engaged, you need to do something. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the perfect something. He's been with the organization since he's 16. They have seen in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform everything he's done in his career. So it's not like Ohtani who left. It's not like Soto who left. This is a potential one-team guy, and you want to keep him around. So I get why they did what they did. I don't think it's going to be a good contract for the club by any means, but for years we've been waiting for this Toronto Blue Jays organization to do something, to harken back to the Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion era where the vibes were immaculate and the team was fun to watch. I don't know that this team that they have right now is that, but at very least you have that North Star. You have that guiding light. You have somebody who is going to be there and cares about the organization in the city to be the Velcro for other players coming in. Like guys will want to play with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's that type of player, but the Blue Jays and the transition that they're going to face over the next couple of years, it's going to be really interesting to see. George Springer's contract ending soon, money off the books. Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, Like the Blue Jays team we have right now is not going to be the Blue Jays team of 2 or 3 years down the road. And how they fill those spots and how they give that money out and who they bring in is going to be imperative to seeing whether Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can be a championship player or not.
He's never going to get blamed for this. He's just never. I mean, he's their favorite son, a guy that was born in Canada, right? The country loves his dad. They love this family. So even if his $500 million ends up eating up a substantial amount of the payroll and it prevents them from making moves, I don't know if it will. I don't know if it won't. But if it prevents them from making moves that will make them world championship caliber, and let's keep in mind, Vlad has never won a playoff game, let alone a series.
Right.
It's been over a decade since the franchise has won a playoff game.
Yeah, Chris, what I think what we don't want here is for the Toronto Blue Jays to turn into the Los Angeles Angels and for Vladimir Guerrero to be next gen Mike Trout.
Yep. And that's what we're looking at. So I have said in shows past that I didn't think they were going to get this extension done. I thought they whiffed on not trading him last year. People have obviously fed that back to me ad nauseum, and I get it. I just didn't think it was going to happen. But
neither did I. I didn't think the dollars were going to get to that point, especially with no deferrals.
Right.
Like it's an enormous contract. I mean, Miguel Cabrera previously had the standard for first base contracts at 8 years and $248 million. Vladdy doubled that. It's a massive guarantee, and I wish we could play out like the sliding doors situation where he didn't sign it and went to free agency, because I'm so curious to see what he would have gotten out on the open market. And if other teams would have seen him as a first baseman and said, that's a first baseman, we don't pay him $500 million. But, it's like Soto opened up the door to anything and everything. And there's a real argument to be made that Juan Soto is going to be a DH sometime in the next half decade, and then you're paying 10 years DH, $50+ million a year. Like, that contract could turn out to be bad for the Mets, but I think because of the excitement that it's caused in New York and really the standard that they're setting with the Mets right now, it is going to be worth it. For the Blue Jays' sake, you just hope that this Vladdy deal plays the same type of role.
All right, a couple quick notes before we get out of here. Remember to smash that subscribe button, the like button as well. Go check out Dugout Discussions with Chris Rose. Shota Imanaga is our guest this week. We had a blast.
He's really awesome.
He is great. He is one of a
kind. Skenes loves him, by the way.
Oh, I love that. I love to hear that. Okay. Yeah. And then last thing, Blitzball continues tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us in the chat. It's Team Whack against McFlurry Power, so make sure you join us. That is going to be great. Jeff Passan, thank you so much for joining us. You're way too smart for this show, but we always appreciate when you drop by on one of our programs.
I know.
Yeah. Say hi to the Solon mayor for me, okay? One more time, because I'm sure.
Thanks for having me, Rosie.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Always a pleasure and a joy. I appreciate you having me.
This is great. Our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer. That is Jeff Passan from ESPN. Make sure you read his Paul Skenes' latest work on ESPN.com coming your way on Wednesday. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Wednesday with a sunburned Trevor Plouffe here on Baseball Today.